Hi guys, this is homework 12-1. It's going to be questions 2, 3, and 4. I already completed question 2. We're going to go ahead and we're going to be sketching the graph y is equal to 3 sine x from negative 360 to positive 360. We're going to go ahead and focus in on the original y is equal to sine of x. You guys can remember that we have to remember to focus in on those 5 key points. Your x value is always going from 0 to 360. At 0, sine of x is 0. At 90, we're at 1. At 180, back down to 0, to negative 1, to 0. And you guys can see that we have an amplitude right there of 1. Now we're going to be going ahead and focusing in on the one that they want us to graph, which is y is equal to 3 sine x. You guys can see that we're going to be focusing in on from 0 to 360. And when you guys go ahead, you're going to be starting at 0. But now the amplitude changes. Instead of going to 1, we're going to be going to 3. Back down to 0, to negative 3, to 0. Okay, I want you guys to go ahead and label your graph. 90, 180, 270, 360, negative 90, negative 180, 270, 360. Okay, you're going to go ahead and plot your 5 key points. You're going to start at 0, 0, go to 90, up to 3, back down to 0, negative 3, 0. You're going to be doing the exact same thing. Back down to negative 3, 0, up to 3, down to 0. Okay, your amplitude right here is the highest. You always find the amplitude right out in front of sine. That is going to be 3. Your equation of the midline is the halfway distance between your max and your min. So it's at y is equal to 0. It says for what value of x in the intervals from negative 360 to positive 360, so from here to here, is x equal to negative 3. So you guys can go to negative 3 and you're going to see at negative 90 and positive 270. Your max is your highest point right here, which is 3. Your min is your lowest point, which is negative 3. Your range, how low can you go to how high? You're going from negative 3 to positive 3. And you guys can see that your domain is your x value from left to right. You guys are going to go from negative 360 to positive 360. Okay, the next question is question number 3. We're going to be going ahead and focusing in on a negative, which means that we are reflecting it over the x-axis. So we're going to be doing the same thing. In this case, though, they only want us to go from 0 to 360. So we have our x and y. You guys can always focus in on the sine of x first, and then y is equal to negative sine of x. So we know our 5 key points: 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. We start at 0. We have an amplitude of 1. Back down to 0, negative 1, 0. Okay, for this one, you guys are going to go ahead and realize that when we reflect it over the x-axis, we're flipping it. So instead of going to 1, we're going to be going to negative 1. This does not mean that we have an amplitude of negative 1. This means a reflection. This would be negative. That negative means a reflection, and the 1 would be the amplitude. A lot of students have a hard time with that, and they think that the amplitude is negative. An amplitude is how high it is, so it'll never be negative. We have 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. For our x values, our y, we're going to start at 0, We know that the middle is going to be 0 and the end is going to be 0. But instead of going up to 1, we're reflecting it or flipping it, and we're going to go to -1, back up to 1. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We have 90, 180, 270, 360. 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, -1, and we only have to go from 0 to 360. So we're going to go ahead, whoops, and we're going to start at 0, 0. We're going to go ahead for 90, -1, back to 0, up to 1, and make sure again, the biggest thing I noticed in past years is that students have this V instead of a curve like. So please make sure that you have that curve when you guys are going ahead and doing this. Okay, you guys can go ahead and see that the max or the highest is 1. Your amplitude or the highest point there is 1. Your min, -1. Your range, how low can you go? -1 to how high? +1. Your domain from left to right, you're going from 0 to 360. Your domain's your x values. Your range are your y values. Make sure you have bracket because they are included in the set. Okay, the interval in which it increases from 90 to 270. So 90 to 270. And the decrease is from 0 to 90. Union, 270 to 360. Okay, and last and final graph that we're going to be sketching, this has two things that's going on here. We have a negative, which is a reflection, and we're going to be changing our amplitude. So it's not going to be 1, but we're going to be going to a height of 2. So the two things that are going to be changing is the reflection. So instead of going to 1, we're going to go to -1, but the amplitude is going to be 1 here. It's going to be 2 here. So instead of going to 2, we're going to be going to -2. So we're going to focus in on our key points. 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. And I kind of think with sign, this negative just tells us the direction. So if it's positive, you're going to be going up. If it's negative, you're going to be going down. And that's helpful for some students too. Remember that you always have your 3 key points, your first, your middle, and your last, and those are always going to be 0. So you're going to start at 0, unless there's a transformation that happened, which we will get into later, but 0, 0, 0. And this right here, we're going to be going to 2. We would be going to a height of 2. So if this was 2 right here, this is going to tell us that the negative, we're going to go down, the direction down to -2, back to 0, up to 2. Okay, so you guys, we're going to be going from 0 to 360. So we're going to start at 0, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We have 90, 180, 270, 360. We're going to go ahead, 1, 2, 3, +2, 1, 2, 3, -2. Okay, you guys can go ahead and plot your points. We're going to start at 0, 0. At 90, you're going to be at -2, back to 0, +2, and 2. And you guys can go ahead. And as I said in one of the videos earlier, you're going to get so comfortable with graphing the sine curve, and especially focusing in on these points. And the only thing that's going to be changing at this point is the amplitude and if it's reflected. And the reflection just tells us the direction. Okay, the amplitude here is 2. This is where students get in trouble because they always think the amplitude is -2, but just be very careful. And when you guys are dealing with that amplitude, the domain, we're talking our x values. We're going from 0 to 360. My range, how low can I go? That's my y values. To the highest point, that's from -2 to +2. My min, 2, -2, max, +2. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you guys can make sure that you label y is equal to -2 sine x. This one, y is equal to negative sine x. All right, perfect. If you have any questions, please email me and I will get back to you. Have a great day. Bye.